Before we get started here, this content was inspired by MOUSAIT's videos on if Disney villains were charged for their crimes and such. Go check out his content when you get the chance after this video. But unlike in his videos, I'll be using the specific law of the state Anne comes from. Anne is from LA, which means we're using California law here.
Ma'am, you really need to go. You're making everybody uncomfortable.
Never. Yo, Sash, sick room's over here. Forget the sick room. Forget school. Let's get out of here and celebrate your birthday in style.
Anne and Sasha commit truancy by leaving school early without permission. Considering Anne's reluctance to do this is presumably her first offense, so she would likely only be brought back to school if she was caught, and her parents would likely be informed. If this were to continue, it could be a problem, but for now, it's not a problem for Anne anyways. But for her parents, it could be pretty steep, as they could receive a $500 fine after receiving notice of her truancy. And if the courts believe that her action as delinquency and believe they've contributed to it, then they could be charged with a Class A misdemeanor, which is punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of $2,500. Truancy is serious, kids.
All right, Anne, you can do this.
Ordinarily, this would only be petty theft, but considering the music box is most powerful object in the universe of Amphibia, that makes its value exponentially more, meaning Anne is on the hook for grand larceny.
Seems like the beast roams these parts. Probably a good place to attack.
Anne is actually on the hook for two crimes here. One for the obvious false imprisonment of Sprig, but the other is actually because the use of snare traps is illegal in California. Violation of any trapping rule or regulation is punishable by a fine of not less than $300 or by imprisonment in the county jail for not more than 1 year.
I think it's best you stay put.
But
No buts.
now let's go rob an old man!
So, Anne and Sprig have now entered a conspiracy to rob Hop Pop for the key to get out of the house. And yes, you can be guilty of conspiracy of a crime without actually committing a crime, assuming you do anything to further the attempt to commit that crime. So, Anne and Sprig may live in this house, but they were not permitted to enter Hop Pop's room, especially since he's sleeping. Much like how you cannot go into your roommate's room without their permission, you could still be charged with trespassing even though you live in the same house. Okay, so this one was a slippery slope, but I've finally determined that the punishment for stealing a key varies by the value of whatever the key unlocks. For example, if I had a safe containing $10,000 and you were to steal that key from me, that would be the equivalent of stealing $10,000. So Anne stealing that key would be the equivalent of stealing whatever is in the planter's household. The planters don't seem to be well off, so at first this would likely be petty theft. But we would later learn that the planter household has a secret dungeon that contains a wide variety of complex machinery and scientific equipment and armor and weapons of a historical figure, which would make them much more valuable. And considering there were several weapons and sets of armor there, that could all likely be more than $1,000, considering again the historical significance. I'm guessing Anne would have another charge of grand larceny against her.
Sometimes I wonder why I even bother putting up with you at all!
Oopsies. 2.
Did the tree just scream?
So that tree turned out to be some weird stick bug monster creature. So breaking that limb off of it would likely be animal cruelty.
Incoming! Oh, ooh, sorry, dude. What was that?
So, Sprig does not understand the concept of a pillow fight here, which means, as far as he's concerned, Anne just assaulted him, especially with the fact that she knocked him to the floor.
Sprig. Hey, Sprig! Ah!
Hey, Sprig.
What, Anne?
Pillow fight!
No, wait, stop! Ah!
So he just told her to stop and she refused. So if that last one was a bit iffy, this one could definitely be considered assault.
Pizza dreams! Oh, maybe we should put pineapple on it. Seems like a natural fit.
Don't you dare talk about pineapple on my pizza. Ever.
This caterpillar looks exactly like my cat Domino from back home. Let's take her home with us.
So California has very strict exotic pet laws, especially since this thing turns out to grow up into basically a fuck-off flying tiger. So yeah, Anne would be hit with some exotic pet law violations here. The fine would range from anywhere from $500 to $10,000, plus a possible 6-month prison sentence.
Cut it out, you guys! Seriously! Ow!
Oh, sorry, Anne. You okay?
I need experience. Hey, what do you say we take a harmless test drive?
What in tarnation? Hooligans! Ruffians!
And we can help each other. I can make sure you stay popular, and in turn, you can help me improve my reputation. How does that sound?
Sounds harmless.
It is not. She has basically accepted a bribe because she is rewarded for this from the mayor with a very expensive apartment suite thing. This would be punishable by up to a fine of 3 times the value of the bribe and imprisonment for up to 15 years in a federal penitentiary.
She's hideous again.
Okay, so I know I just said accepting a bribe was bad, but if you accept a bribe and then go back on it, that's actually a form of fraud.
Hey, you know what? I still have the key to the apartment. You guys want to try out the hot tub before they change the locks?
So, even if she does have the key, Anne is likely no longer permitted on the premises since the mayor's paying for it and she kind of just spit in his face. So I doubt he would give her permission to stay there. which means even though she has the key, she'd still be trespassing.
2 of your fanciest spa treatments, please.
That will be 10 coppers each.
What the? Hop-Up's IOUs?
So yeah, Anne pays at least 5 businesses with these phony IOUs that do not end up being worth anything. So that's basically 5 counts of counterfeiting.
Ooh la la! The little love doves are sneaking off into the woods.
Yep, once again, Anne's trespassing here. Sprig is outside in a deadly rain and windstorm, and so he is not aware she is in his room and has not given her permission to be there, so she is trespassing.
Not that it matters anymore. Ah, mother of pearl!
Hey, Stumpy!
Oh boy, California law really saves Anne here. So she has clearly broken into Stumpy's establishment, but she does not plan on stealing anything. She's here to spruce the place up. So she does not have the intent to steal or harm the business owner Stumpy, so she cannot be charged with breaking and entering. Still trespassing, however.
Guess who became a Toad Tower deputy? Also, check out this cool sword Bob gave me. We remind Wally how much he owes, or...
What's all this about?
I, guess you owe the town money?
We'll be taking your stuff.
So this may be how things work in Amphibia, but I'm still going by California law, and cops can't just break in and steal your stuff. This is extortion.
You keep your claws off that snail. Better yet, get off our property!
Okay, now I know I just said she was on the hook for being with the group and doing nothing to stop them, but at the same time now, she is basically sworn off her deputyship and is basically resisting the officers, which you can't do even if the cops are being unlawful or unreasonable. It's up for the courts to decide, not for people to just resist the police. That would just give them justification to use force on you. So yeah, even though she has not directly attacked yet, and actually doesn't in this fight, she's still using weapons against them, so that's resisting an officer with violence.
Now, kids, just 'cause we lost the family stand doesn't mean we can't sell our produce out of a janky wheelbarrow. This is perfectly legal.
Then why are we hiding in an alley?
Stop asking questions and follow my lead.
You need a permit to sell food on the streets in California, so not having that is punishable by a fine not exceeding $500 or imprisonment not exceeding 6 months. And even though it's Hop Pop's stand/wheelbarrow, Anne is technically one of the suppliers and or operators of this, so she's on the hook here.
Captured!
Was it you, Stumpy? Was it you, Croaker? Was it you, Toadstool?
So, Anne has done nothing to prevent Sprig from going overboard as he's interrogating these people about his lost shell, so that would make her an accomplice by failing to prevent him from doing that. So she's also in trouble for the destruction of property in Stumpy's and Croaker's, and the assault of Toady there.
And I got it! I have a completely reasonable plan for getting Mrs. Croaker to like me. I'm going to break into her house, search through her belongings, find the key to her secret wishes, and make them all come true.
So Sprig just laid out his plan, and Anne doesn't do anything to try and stop him, making her an accomplice to this as well.
Sprig! Psst! You gotta get out of here, man! Finally, a chance to use everything I know about chemistry.
Hey, do you hear that? Did you leave the sink running? Oh dear.
So these cannibal bullfrogs have been incapacitated and at the moment cannot pursue the group. California does not have a stand your ground law, so Anne does not have the right to further commit harm here. So what she does next is not protected under self-defense. So we don't know if that family of cannibal bullfrogs survived or not, but since we don't know for certain that they're dead, I can't charge Anne with anything like murder here. So she's definitely on the hook for the destruction of that inn, but since we don't know the fates of the frogs, and she definitely knew some harm would probably befall them, I'm going to probably count this as attempted voluntary manslaughter.
I lost me true love by the old willow tree.
So, fun fact for you all here, assault is not necessarily harming someone. That would be battery. Assault is simply putting reasonable fear of bodily harm into someone. And considering Wally's reaction, he's definitely afraid for his life here, so that's a case of assault.
What kind of evil person would live in a place like this?
Into the train, inside of which I've hidden a high priceless ruby. Also, I have hired actors to portray guards who will stop at nothing to keep their ruby safe. You must retrieve it using the wisdom and skills I have taught you.
So, does anyone else think this just looks like we're robbing a real train?
Yeah.
Okay, so even though they're being duped into doing this, they're still committing a conspiracy to rob a train. So, whatever crimes any one of these three commits is still on Anne at this point. Because in a conspiracy, you can be charged with whatever one of your accomplices does.
Hey, the train! Stop!
This was a bit difficult, so surprise, surprise, there isn't an easily definable answer to the charge of robbing a train. Probably because people don't do it too often these days. So it highly depends on what type of train it is. Stealing the train itself would be considered grand larceny, since it's a large vehicle with train cars in it that are all totaled to probably over 15,000 or more. And since this is a train carrying goods, and a priceless ruby at that, that would likely be 2 counts of grand larceny.
Get back here!
So that is assault with a deadly weapon on top of attempted voluntary manslaughter because she kicked him off of a moving high-speed train. If this wasn't a cartoon, he would not have survived that.
Polly, you're up. Polly, got any more boom shrooms?
Ah, they were good kids. Too bad they have to go to prison forever.
Guys, now! Hey, want to shake it off with another game of tongue tag?
Heck yeah!
Let's play in Hot Pop's room. I like the obstacles.
No, you kids, get out!
Once again, Hop Hop has not given them permission to be in here and actively wants them out because they're endangering his little model ship thing there. So, yep, trespassing again.
We've got a situation. We're not guests.
Prisoners, I know, and it's worse than that. They're planning to execute Hop Hop.
Say what?
Nobody panic. I'm busting us out of here.
So, even though the capture wasn't exactly lawful, Anne is still attempting to help the frogs here escape custody, so that is the crime of aiding escape, as she knowingly aids, abets, and assists these frogs from escaping custody or confinement.
Seize the traitor, Hoppadiah Planter!
No! Get your hands off me!
Kids, no!
Hey, that's mine!
Stay back!
So Hop Hop has been labeled a traitor, and Anne is giving him aid and comfort, which means that she is committing treason as well, which actually gives her the death penalty.